Very interesting news conference this morning. So this afternoon, I've decided to play that news conference because a lot of people said, Manta was kind of busy. I did not hear the questions. I did not hear some of the responses. So I'm going to give you a second chance. To listen. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, his first news conference of the year. Let's listen. Okay, we're gonna come back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. We're gonna come back after this. Sorry. Come back.
We did the press conference, and so I have to with you in the time to prep the press conference. I want to thank here and all of you for attending. Officers, media without the media in the press conference, listening to always this press conference. I want to thank all of you. Let me take this opportunity. Media without the media, there's no press conference, and so I appreciate always making the time to be present. Let me also take this opportunity to wish all of you here today, as well as all of you tuned in, a happy and productive New Year. I will first comment briefly on the January 3rd, 2026 capture of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, by U.S. forces to have them face trial in the U.S. on allegations of international misconduct. Dominica, as always, is firmly committed to the principles of international law, multilateralism, and the United Nations system, and has a long-standing respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, and human dignity. Dominica reiterates its call for the rule of law to be observed and for ongoing diplomatic efforts to ensure Venezuela's stability, good governance, democracy, and peace. Dominica remains steady, ready to support all such efforts. At this moment, our concern is for the well-being of the Venezuelan people. Political developments have real consequences for ordinary citizens, affecting social and economic stability, and in many instances, access to essential services. We therefore encourage restraint and actions which prioritize peace and the protection of human life. We are also mindful of the practical and immediate effects that regional developments can have. On January 3rd, for example, in the immediate aftermath of military activity in Venezuela, there were disruptions to some flight schedules in the region, which inconvenienced persons traveling to Dominica. We are pleased to note that these disruptions were short-lived and that flight operations have since returned to normal. Dominica is also attentive to the broader regional implications of instability. Our Caribbean region is closely interconnected through trade, energy cooperation, and migration. Developments in one country inevitably have ripple effects across neighboring states. It is for this reason that we place great value on regional dialogue and coordinated engagement. In this regard, Dominica continues to engage with our partners in Caribbean, We will continue to support efforts which promote dialogue among stakeholders and encourage solutions based on mutual respect and international norms. I understand and acknowledge the uncertainty and concern caused by these recent developments, and I assure the people of Dominica that this government will continue to represent your interests with diligence and care. As discussions continue at the regional and international levels, the government of Dominica will remain engaged, measured, and principled. We will continue to assess developments, consult with our regional partners, and act in a manner consistent with our long-standing foreign policy values. I will speak now about our U.S.-Dominica relations. I wish to provide a brief update on ongoing discussions with the United States of America, particularly in light of the December 16 proclamation announcing partial visa restrictions. Dominica has been engaged in ongoing dialogue with the United States on matters of mutual interest, and an agreement has been reached on one of the primary areas of collaboration. The United States and the Commonwealth of Dominica have entered into an agreement to facilitate third country refugees to be sent to Dominica to mitigate scenarios where the United States cannot return these individuals to the state of birth or origin. In our discussions with the State Department, there have been careful deliberations of the need to avoid receiving violent individuals or individuals who will compromise the security of Dominica. This has been acknowledged and well received by the State Department. Given the importance of bilateral relations between the United States and the Commonwealth of Dominica, I, as Prime Minister and Head of Government, believe it is important to find key points of agreement and compromise between our countries. This engagement is based on our responsibility to safeguard the well-being of our people, particularly the access to lawful travel, education, employment, and family connections, while strengthening cooperation between our two governments. I believe this will further deepen our long-standing relationship and signal clearly that Dominica remains a willing and reliable partner of the United States in our region. Let us, as we start this new year, we must choose steady reflection, not heightened emotion. This is a time for clear thinking, not division. Our country has faced challenges before, and we have always met them with resilience, dignity, and a deep sense of responsibility to one another. Let us begin this new year by lowering the temperature of our national discourse, choosing calm over conflict, and remembering that we are strongest when we stand together. This new year must also renew our shared commitment to nation building, above and beyond political or personal differences. Political views may differ, but our love for country must remain greater than any division. We have much to be proud of and much to build on. This government has a clear vision of sustainable development, with ongoing investments in housing, health, education, and major national infrastructural projects. Let us enter this new year with confidence, purpose, and hope. Focus not on what divides us, but on all that we have going for us as a nation, and on the work still ahead to secure a better future for generations to come. This is my charge to all of us in our country this morning, and I do hope that we can all live up to this expectation. I will now pause and will take questions from the media. Thank you so much.
Thank you to the Honorable Prime Minister. We heard comments on the recent developments in Venezuela as well as an update on our relationship with the United States, and I will now open the floor for questions on these and other matters, starting with Carlisle John Baptist of Nature Isle News.
Thank you very much.
Madam Press Secretary. Prime Minister, a few questions. The U.S. indictment lists Maduro as a major drug trafficker. How concerned are you with these allegations? Also, the indictment states that the PDVSA was used in the transport of illegal drugs. How will this affect Dominica's relations with PDVSA? And my third question on the first round is, the indictment hints also that Caribbean politicians may be implicated in the matter. How worried or concerned are you about these allegations and the impact it can have on regional stability? I'll give you now.
In respect to the indictments, you have the same information I have. It's out in the public domain. I have no more information than you have. We just follow the news. And I guess in the days and weeks ahead, one will have more detailed and clear information. But I'm not in a position to comment on the details of this indictment against President Maduro. But what you know is what I know. What I know is what you know. So there's no way I can enlighten you further. In respect to PDVSA and the allegations of this entity being used as a medium to engage in whatever illegal activities, and in respect to Dominica's relation with PDVSA, as you know, Dominic, like many other Caribbean countries, most Caribbean countries, entered into an agreement with Venezuela under what they call the Petro-Caribbean Agreement. And that agreement helps sustain the economies of all of the participating countries, including those that did not participate, because it helped bring in foreign exchange. It helps stabilize the price of petroleum products, from cooking gas to gas for our fishing boats and our vehicles. And so one cannot discount the tremendous impact of Petro-Caribbean on the agreement. But as far as our relationship with PDVSA on the Petro-Caribbean, it was transparent. It was above board. We never engaged in any illegal activities, any activities that contravene international law or domestic law or any regional agreements or international treaties. There's nothing to be concerned about or fearful about. This government has been as transparent as it would transparent itself. And I can say to you, without any fear of contradiction from anybody, this government has never engaged itself in any drug dealing, any illegal activities whatsoever. And we can stand and say this anywhere with a very clear face and a very sincere heart. You know our position on drug trafficking. You know our position on illegal activities in the country. There's no government in the history of this country that has spent more money on police and national regional security and ensuring that this country and this region remains a very peaceful place. And there are a number of things that I engage myself in as Prime Minister with our international partners where regional security is concerned, that I don't even share the cabinet because of their high sensitive nature. But I do these things because I believe it's important for me to do so as Prime Minister, to secure this country and to secure the region as a place that people can live and do business and visit in peace without fear of security. And so there's nothing, I know on social media it is hot and exciting, and all kinds of spurious things have been said, but the truth of the matter is, nobody can point fingers at the government in any matter. So. But we will not stand here and say that Petro-Caribbean was not put to dominate. Petro-Caribbean was a tremendous agreement to this country. Obviously, it got impacted dramatically after the sanctions were placed in Venezuela. So a lot of people do not know that the petroleum products that we've been selling by Petro-Caribbean have been from commercial agreements which we have with suppliers on international marketing. So we have not been receiving petroleum products from Venezuela for a very long time, except on a few occasions when we had a challenge of access to diesel, in particular, and petroleum product. And the president of Venezuela was gracious enough to make some special arrangements to get some much needed petroleum products to us in Dominica. But insofar as this agreement, there's nothing untoward, it's above board, and certainly we're not aware of any activities that were contrary to any laws or any treaties, insofar as it's concerned. So there's nothing to be worried about. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yes, good morning.
Morning. So what is, Prime Minister, what is Dominica's backup plan to keep fuel flowing if West Indies Oil or Petrocaribbean entities face sanctions or disruption? The second question is, the second question is, has the government assessed the sanctions and reputational risk to Dominica's economy and banking system from these fuel arrangements? And will the public see that assessment?
In respect to the Dominica and facing any sanctions in respect to the Petrocaribbean agreement, I said we have not been receiving petroleum products from Venezuela for a very long time, for over 7 years or so, 7, 8 years, and largely because of the sanctions on Venezuela, and also the sanctions on ships transporting petroleum products from Venezuela. Petrocaribbean Dominica has been procuring petroleum products from the market, from different sources. From Sol, where LPG is concerned, we purchased from that, we purchased from Western Oil before, we purchased from NP before, purchased from, I believe, the other company that's there, and the other regional companies that we purchased from, one based in Jamaica, there's another one based in the Bahamas, there's another one based in Barbados, registered in Barbados. So this is where Petrocaribbean has been buying their products for a very long time. So there's nothing to be concerned about as far as the citizens' economic is concerned. With sanctions, there'll be no justifications for any imposition of any sanction on in respect to this agreement on the Petrocaribbean. We've been very transparent, very much above board, and so there's nothing to be concerned about. I cannot speak to West Indies Oil, but I believe West Indies Oil will be quite possibly in the same circumstance as Petrocaribbean Dominica is concerned. I think I would have answered the question.
But you know, Prime Minister, that the chairperson
Of West Indies Oil was stopped by U.S. officials. Are you aware of that, sir? And yes, you can research it.
I'm not interested, chairman or the manager of West Indies Oil. I mean, if that's a matter for him and whoever else, so it's not for me to go and research something that's not going to impact my life tomorrow, today, or that of them going to be. But we have to be careful that we don't. I mean, the reality is there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are stopped on a weekly basis traveling to the United States. They pull you aside. You ask the question, what are you going to do in America? Why are you traveling to America so often? You have family in there. I mean, that's sometimes routine stuff, and I'm not talking in that particular case that you're referencing. But I'm sure there's coastal Dominicans listening to me today who have been stopped at one point in another. I mean, even when you come to Dominica, the immigration asks you questions on Dominican. How about if you're going to another country? So this is customary practice that you put aside. If you look at your boarding pass, sometimes you will see a special security code on your thing, and they will check your bags separate from others. That's why some of you don't get your bag because they put your bag out. Also, they are online to study closer, or they'll give what they call a secondary search. So their number. So when you check, you'll see an XS or something like that. Or 4 S's. They tell me 4 S's on your boarding pass. Check it out, and they will put you aside because you have been identified by the system. I'm not sure how they reckon that. But I guess in this period, people want to make things that have been customary appear to be strange. And it's not strange. And I think, unfortunately, this kinds of comments are coming from people who know better. But in an effort to create confusion in the minds of people, we're making this seem as if it's the first time this is happening. No, it's not the first time it's happening. Getting a visa to any country does not guarantee you entry to the country. They can send you back, they can stop you, they can refuse entry into there. So there's nothing untoward about this. I mean, because you're in a particular period, people may want to assign things to this, but I don't think it's fair to assign this into this. But insofar as sanctions and so on against Dominica, there's absolutely zero, nothing, zilch, nothing whatsoever. Yeah. Yes.
Prime Minister said, hold on a second. The United States president made a statement over the weekend that they will run Venezuela for the time being. So he said that America will run Venezuela for the time being. Many pundits, many observers are not sure how that's going to happen. But he said further, the US oil companies will invest billions of dollars in Venezuela's energy sector to fix the badly broken oil infrastructure and start making money for the country. Again, many pundits are seen as a very interesting statement. What about you and other CARICOM heads? How do you feel about that statement by the US president?
I put it this way. Sometimes people interpret what I say or what Dominica says as being anti-America or pro-Venezuela or pro-this or pro-that. No. Dominica is a friend of all countries. We've never taken up any confrontation with any country. Even within CARICOM sometimes when colleagues say things about Dominica, you've never heard me publicly say anything negative about a prime minister or a president or a country. Never in all my years as prime minister. Because we wish to maintain good relations with every country. Now we cannot discount the fact that the United States has been our friend, and I've said so many times, the United States is one of the major contributors to our national security in terms of training, resources, etc., etc. Yes, I always tell the United States that I wish they could give us more because they can do a lot more in terms of investments in infrastructure, schools, and scholarships. On the other hand, too, Venezuela has been Dominica's friend since the day we became an independent country. And since then, every successive government in Dominica has maintained good relations with Venezuela. So we cannot discount that. So we're friends of all and enemies of none. We respect countries' right to self-determine, to determine how they run a country. We do not interfere in any country's internal affairs. Never do that. What we have been doing as friends of all, and in this case, friends of both, is to offer ourselves in whatever way they believe that we can work with them in enhancing their relationship or addressing whatever differences they may have. It is for them to decide whether the offer of assistance is welcome or there is a role for us to play. If they say there's no role for us to play, then we say thank you very much. No problem, we'll be there if you need us anytime. And so I heard what the president of the United States said. I don't know the details of this. That's why I don't want to comment on this. And I've also heard what Delcy Rodriguez, who is the new acting president of Venezuela, said, that she invites collaboration from the United States. And so I am happy to hear that statement made that they would like to collaborate because at the end of the day, if the United States and Venezuela can address the issues and work together, it will mean a world of a difference for the Caribbean. You understand? And we know the multiple reasons why I'm saying that. I don't want to go into details because of the shock in the press conference. So this is what it is. I cannot comment one way or the other. Because I also heard the President of the United States say in his press conference that the Secretary of State had discussions with Delcy Rodriguez, the acting president. So I am not a party to any of those conversations. So for me to make a comment would be speculative. And I don't think a prime minister has the luxury to speculate. You may have, the citizens may have, but as Prime Minister, I do not have a luxury in the capacity. But we offer ourselves whatever way we can play a part in bridging the gap of these countries and addressing the issues so that we can move forward in peace and prosperity. And let us share the prosperity so that all of us can benefit.
Prime Minister, let me ask you a question. Has the President of the United States broken international law by heading to Venezuela, capturing the president, and today he's facing the courts in the US? Has he broken international law?
The for the United Nations, the Security Council, these matters are being looked at from a broader regional standpoint. I do not want to engage in any confrontation with anybody, or condemning anybody, or making any negative comment about anybody. Absolutely, it's not my style. So this is not the way we approach things. Whatever concern that we have, where friends are concerned, we share with them privately. You understand? I'm never in the business of naming and shaming anybody. You understand? So whatever concern we have, we share it privately. But at the end of the day, what happens between the relationship between the United States of America and Venezuela is really a matter for Venezuela and the United States. You understand? So, but whatever role we can play in that, we will play that role. But it is, I don't think it's gonna help for myself or anybody to condemn this one or that one. I think that we have to offer ourselves as honest brokers. And if and when we meet privately, then sentiments can be shared privately on how we believe this matter should be approached. But I don't think for a prime minister of a third country to ventilate it in the public domain would be helpful.
Yeah, you spoke about refugees.
How soon we will see the refugees, and in terms of housing plan for them? And can you please tell us, if you by now will know, where will they be coming from? Also, just before, I also have a next question as it relates to students in Cuba. Some of them, and I will say some, I don't know if all agree, they claim that no support, and they are saying that they are yet to receive any stipends from since last semester. So can you shed some light on that also first, please, PM? Thank you.
In respect to the what do you call third country nationals, TCN, third country nationals. Obviously, the details will be worked out in the United States, and the United States is very mindful of our smallness, our size, our resources, and so forth. So we will look at the United States on all of these logistical issues. Of course, the details I cannot share with you at this stage, but all of those questions that you've asked have been considered as part of the discussion and as part of the agreement, the MOU between the government and the United States on this. I'll say so. All fairness to the United States, especially the folks at the U.S. Embassy and the State Department, they have been very respectful and reasonable and understanding of our concerns. And I think that they have taken some of our concerns into a very serious consideration. And those concerns have been reflected in the final document that we're using ourselves. But as time goes by, we will know how we're going to operate this agreement, how we're going to operationalize it, and so we can take it forward. On the students issue, I want to find out what it be the students that are in Cuba, and we'll certainly do that to you. Okay? Yeah.
Good morning again, sir.
But you get only what's the questions.
A lot of questions. You have to speak for the people, Prime Minister. What were the U.S. concerns? I know you spoke to that earlier. What were the U.S. concerns with the CBI? And what if any attempts were made to review or amend? And second question, Second question, as it relates to this. Did anybody within your administration or government or diplomatic circles interviewed by the US recently with drug trafficking concerns? I know you said none of your government officials are involved.
The first question, as you know, there's an agreement among the 5 countries which operate a CBI program within the OECD. And we entered into an agreement to do a number of things jointly. That agreement has since been passed in every single country operating the CBI, including Germany. The United States government was heavily engaged in the process, and they were the most forthcoming in terms of their concerns, their suggestions, their engagement, both at the Treasury Department level and the State Department level, and also at the embassy level representing the State Department. And so the final document that went to the parliaments of our country reflected the concerns of the United States and addressed those concerns of the United States. It is our view, and we have expressed that to the United States, that there may have been a delay in communication between the State Department and the White House in terms of some of the actions that we take. And this thing happen. Even in our small countries, small ministries and government system, this thing happen. So there's nothing untoward about it. Since then, we have State Department have clarified this with the White House. We have clarified that. We have given them we have sent them additional copies. We've written to them, drawing to the attention Article 48 and 49 that which address the issue of residency, and the point that we have scrupulously negotiated with the United States, and they eventually agreed on that, on the provisions and the way that we addressed it in the agreement, and of course in the legislation. So this has been sent to the United States. It's a matter for us now to continue the conversations with them on this matter. Then you have the issue of the biometrics. There's the central bank, Governor Central Bank, and others visited the Washington DC on the invitation of the State Department, so that we can understudy the biometric system of the United States, because we have to introduce biometrics not only for economic citizens but even for all citizens in terms of passport application and passport issuance. And so we visited because we would like to replicate what the United States has as best practice, so that whatever we do meets international standards and international best practices. And so we was looking to mirror the biometric system that the United States has with ours, so that we are compliant not only in law but in practice. And so this is where we are. I'm not aware of anybody from the government who was interviewed by the US on the issue of drugs or any illegal activities. I'm not aware of this. I'm not aware of this. And certainly any minister which I would know. And they didn't tell me that they would tell you, but I certainly am not aware of any of this happening. Any diplomatic circles, I'm not aware of this. I'm not aware of this. This might be just the usual AI generated mongering in social media and so on. Sometimes people confuse Dominic with the Republican. So I hope you're not doing that bad. Any other questions, please?
Yes.
Yes.
All Happy New Year. Mr. Prime Minister, I know Kalai touched a little on the students in Venezuela, but should the situation, the students in Cuba, yes, beg your pardon. But so should the situation deteriorate in Venezuela, what are your government plans for our students studying in Venezuela? And secondly, what word do you have for our Dominicans listening to you right now from
You're
the various media platforms
You're watching
overseas?
France.
They want to hear something from the Prime Minister with regards to the country and the situation?
Well, the last students we had were medical students, and we transferred them over 3 years ago, and they completed the studies in Cuba. We don't have any students. Um, our our concern as a country is on the welfare and well-being of all the people of this. And our hope and prayer is that the matters can be settled
prospect for you
and
to the
they can
United Nations.
move forward their lives like everyone else and enjoying the resources and enjoying life and children going to school and having a fair meal. This is all what it is. What I would say to Dominic is that even if we may have political differences, which we do, but there are moments in time when we have to stand in political. People believe that when something happens to Dominic, that there's an opportunity to precipitate a change of government and that they will come to government. I have seen these things played out in many countries where when you're in opposition, you say certain things, believing that when you come to government, you won't be confronted with the same things. And I've seen those parts in the government, unfortunately for me, or fortunately for me, I have not had the privilege of being in opposition. And I don't think I will. But the reality is that there are moments in time when we have to stand the country. You may have a natural disaster, you may have a pandemic, you may have an external shock. Right? Anything that happens that affects Dominic is not going to only affect myself as Prime Minister or the government that I have to be on. It will affect all of us. And so, if we have skills and talent, why aren't we putting it at the disposal of the state, of the country? And they say, look, you're confronting this challenge, I have some ideas. You understand? I have some ideas. But no, and the kind of engagement that I see people having on social media, this is unbecoming of patriotic people. We can't be patriotic people. It's unfortunate. And it is as if people are hoping and praying that whatever challenges we are confronting this region and Dominican included, then it would turn into a complete dramatic situation. And that was just scary bold. No. We have faced many challenges as a country, both natural and external, and we have provided calm, reasoned, mature, focused leadership. I don't get flustered by challenges. When challenges confront us, I maintain a calm and level head because leadership requires you to be clear-headed and to provide guidance to the country and to help the country navigate the challenges that it is confronting. So that is life, but it's unfortunate how some are behaving. But that, I guess, in this world you have good and evil, and there are some who prefer to choose evil over good, and that's what it is. So let's pray and hope that this will see greater unity in the country this year, and recognizing that there is shared responsibility and there is shared benefit. So I will end here. Matthew, one more question, and I will end here. So we have Imo News, and then we have Matthew.
Emo News. Emo. Yes, not emo. Emo. Emo News. Perhaps you answered already. Emo. Mhm. What is the government of Dominica's official position on the arrest of the Venezuelan president?
We simply hope that, we have no control over the matter. We're not a party to the matter. We hope that the President Maduro will be treated with respect and dignity, and that he will be offered a partial hearing, whatever the case may be. We don't know the details. I said, I do not want to engage myself in speculation. There's no question that we shared a particular relationship with Venezuela and President Cuba, and we're going to act for this, and not because he's a challenge I would say was not my friend, he was my friend. And he was a good friend of Dominica in difficult times. Venezuelan people, we always appreciate them, we always have great admiration for them, and so forth. This is why whatever we can do to help address the situation in Venezuela, we're prepared to do so as a friend of all. So I'm not sure what official statement or position we want to have. We're not a party to this situation, and of course, there are things that we do not know, and any comment I would make would be merely speculative. And as I said, I do not have the luxury of engaging in speculation.
Number two, do we still have a Venezuelan embassy in Dominica, and is it open as of today?
Yes, it is open. I mean, as you know, it is open. It's open, and we can still engage. There is a government in Venezuela. There is a country called the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. It has not disappeared. And a president has been appointed. We will try to engage and to get more information from them as to how we can assist. And I hope that I can speak to the president of Venezuela at some point to see what kind of assistance we can provide. And so far, I know Delcy Rodriguez in 2004, and so I'll reach out to at some point and see continue offering more support and assistance. Whatever way they believe that we can help in addressing the issues confronting them and moving the United States, that we all can work together for the greater good of the Venezuelan people and the greater good of the Caribbean region.
You said earlier, Prime Minister, and of course we all heard that you say you don't take sides. Your president referred to the United States as a bully in recent times in China. The world heard that interview. Prime Minister, what did you make of these comments there? Was she advised to say that? Was it scripted?
Second question.
Was that?
Your second question.
One second question. And Prime Minister, it has been said, and of course, Dominic has been following that story very closely. It has been said that you issued your son, Malik, with a diplomatic passport to avoid persecution or prosecution. What is your comment on that?
Well, first of all, prime ministers, presidents, heads of state and government, their families, members of the issue the diplomatic passport to travel with them from time to time. Spouses of heads of government, heads of state, and even ministers are offered diplomatic passports. I want to say on this. I have never in my entire life of politics bringing politicians' families into my political discourse. Never. Never. And what is being done to my son is very unfortunate. Very important. It is hurtful and it's evil. But I pray to God that vengeance is not my vengeance, Lord. My son got involved in an accident. And you know, man, I did the program. My son was never challenged. Right? Never challenged. I don't get involved in any matter regarding the police. I never got involved in the police matter. Never. If supporters of mine get into problem with police, as a party, we help pay the legal fees. The police can never tell you I call them and tell them charge this person, don't charge this person. All my years prime minister. Okay? But what has been done is unfair, it is evil, and it is very hurtful. What people are doing. My son is not involved in politics. I'm involved in politics. And I am fair game, okay? But the Bible says, do unto others as like you do unto you. And as you know, this God has helped me and protected me for many years and he continues. So I leave it to the Lord to deal with those who are promoting this hate and this evil attack on my son. My son is my son, and it all is my son. Right? But what's been said and done, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Med Information Service.
The-
I'm sorry. Thank you, PM. I appreciate it. Well, good morning, everyone, and happy New Year to you officially for the first time. We had basically the US saying that they went in because of drugs in Venezuela. Then you see the US president on TV talking about oil, and oil. The impression you would get when they talk about the drug situation is that it goes beyond Venezuela, in that suggesting that there are other enablers in the region or something to that effect. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to speak, if you wish, on the level of cooperation that we have always had with the US or in drug interdiction or regional security and so on.
It was military intervention. What I will say on this matter is that I'm happy that the intervention was short-lived. Because one would appreciate, as we always said, of the likely impact it will have on the economies and the way of life in the Caribbean. And though the events occurred just for a few hours, all flights from America were cancelled. All flights from America was cancelled. If it was prolonged, it means therefore flights will not continue to be cancelled. And you understand the impact on tourism, the impact on revenues, the impact on jobs, the impact on the way of life of the Caribbean people. Cruise ships won't come, airplanes registered in the United States won't come, and you will have a dramatic impact. So we're happy that it was short. As I said, and I repeat, our hope and prayer is that whatever differences exist between United States of America and Venezuela, and that both sides can resolve these matters through dialogue, discussion, and diplomacy. And CARICOM has offered itself, and Dominica is also offering itself, to play whatever role both sides believe that we can play in helping to resolve these issues, so that we can continue to enhance the safety, the security, and the economies of our Caribbean region. So this is I believe that I don't want us to look back, because what has been said or done have all been said and done. I like to focus now on today and tomorrow. What are the solutions? What can we do to ensure that we can move forward together into a better sense of security and prosperity? So I don't want, I don't have the privilege of engaging in speculation or reacting to what is said on social media, because the reality is, AI is so effective now, and I see people forwarding stuff and sharing stuff, and when you look at it, it's AI generated. So we ourselves as media have to be very careful that we don't go raising questions or even carrying things on news that we ourselves have not verified as being accurate or authentic. So in my case, I have even a higher responsibility not to be carried away by what I see being said on social media or sharing of stuff, or people having podcasts or vlogs, as they call them these days, and so on. And I say I watch them like you and like yourself as well. But instead of forming policy or forming a position or an attitude or an approach, I cannot rely on those things. What I rely on is my direct engagement with the United States on this matter, my direct engagement with the CARICOM on this matter, and my direct engagement with Venezuela on this matter. You understand? So that we all appreciate. This morning I had a conversation with the embassy of Barbados, follow up on some things. And this is how we continue the engagement and dialogue. And I think this is the approach that we should take. And this is the attitude that citizens should have. And not engage themselves in all sorts of speculations and rumor. So,
One person. You are not a person really president.
But the president is. As I understand, this statement was made in mid-October. Mid-October. But the reality is, man, There are people who highlighted this because they thought it was going to serve their purpose. You understand? Now, if you were to ask me, I maybe would use this with the nuances and so forth, and so forth. But the president is the president, the president of the state, and I cannot tell the president what to say, what not to say. You know, president of the state, and so forth. But I think for some, it may have been timing. I may have been seen in a particular way, but I am not. That's yesterday. Yesterday stuff. Today's Monday. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you to members of the media. Just an alert that we will be conducting a site visit to the airport construction site.
It's the 2 o'clock hour. Good afternoon, Dominica. Good afternoon to you, and welcome. I'm sure you have your question, your comments following this news conference, the first for the year from the Prime Minister. It's a very sensitive subject for some. And there are those who, of course, feel the question related to Mr. Scarrett's son was insensitive. And there are those who believe that the Prime Minister should answer the question. So you have both sides of the story, and we understand. When it comes to your children or child, you will have emotions. I cannot take that away from anybody. The question remains that facts are stubborn things, and you can't always run away from the facts, right? So I want to highlight that first. So again, here's the question I asked at the news conference a short while ago. Listen. It has been said that you issued your son, Malik, with a diplomatic passport to avoid persecution or prosecution. How or what is your comment on that?
Well, first of all, prime ministers, presidents, heads of state and government, their families, members of the issue the diplomatic passport to travel with them from time to time. Spouses of heads of government, head of state, and even ministers are offered diplomatic passports. I want to say on this, I've never in my entire life of politics bringing politicians' families into my political discourse. Never. Never. And what is being done to my son is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. It is hurtful and it's evil. But I pray to God that vengeance is not my vengeance in Lord. My son got involved in an accident. And you know, man, I did the program. My son was never charged. Right? Never charged. I don't get involved in any matter regarding the police. I never got involved in the police matter. Never. If supporters of mine get into problem with police, as a party, we help pay the legal fees. The police can never tell you I call them and then charge this person, don't charge this person. in all my years as Prime Minister. Okay? But what has been done is unfair, it is evil, and it is very wasteful. What people are doing. My son is not involved in politics. I am involved in politics. And I am fairly okay. The Bible says, do unto others as like you do unto you. And as you know, this Lord has helped me and protect me for many years and continue so. So I leave it to the Lord to deal with those who are promoting this hate and this evil attack on my son. My son is my son, and he'll always be my son. Right? But what's been said and done, it's okay.
Now, we understand, PM, that's a very sensitive subject. And it's unfair sometimes to drag children into business of politicians, huh? That I will admit. But interestingly, 5 minutes after I came from the news conference, I was walking down the road from the government headquarters. And I noticed this bus approaching me, like trying to say something. Somebody was trying to say something to me. So I slowed down. And the young man, the man, asked to give me a ride to Q95. He said, "Matt, I need to talk to you. I want to talk to you." So as usual, given my style, I talk to everybody. I don't have any enemies out there. I soon found out as I started that journey with this bus driver. I never knew that before, but I found out in that very minute. It was the father of cannot dress, they call him. And here's what he had to say. He was the man who lost his son. And immediately we struck a conversation. Listen to what he said. He was speaking specifically to your son. What is your reaction? What do you think? Just stop.
Well, my reaction is I have no problem with the Prime Minister loving his son. Right. I as a father, I have no problem that he loving his son. I know that my father must love their son. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying, what about my son that died? My son. What about my son that died? He's a son that I was very close to, mm-hmm. and I love him too. You understand? So what about my son that died? You understand? He said like that there's no charge of his son. Mm-hmm. I can understand. Okay, there's no charge of your son. So what really happening in Dominica? So when somebody died, so no trial of case, nothing is happening. That is my concern about. I want to know what is happening.
Because you've been asking what is happening with your son. You've been asking that for a little while.
Exactly. I want to know what is happening. What is happening? We need to come to us as parents, come to a conclusion.
So have you never met with the Prime Minister to discuss that?
Well, we have never met to discuss that. We need to come together as a conclusion to discuss that. And I want that.
So you want answers too?
But of course, I want that to be resolved. I want it to be resolved. As I tell you, I have nothing against the Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. You understand? He's my Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. But I want that problem to resolve. I want it to resolve. I want him to come. Let us come together and let us discuss what we're gonna do. You understand? We need conclusion of that.
There were allegations out there that you may or your family may have gotten paid for that.
That is not true. That is not true. If I had get paid for that, you think I would be pleading all the time like that? If you think I get paid for that, you think I would be pleading every time like that about that situation? You understand? Yes, the Prime Minister pay for his funeral. Uh-huh. You understand? He paid for his funeral, but we being compensated. That is not true. If that was the case, I would not be pleading time after time. I want that thing to come to
so you want that to resolve? You want to meet with the Prime Minister?
But of course, I want it to resolve. As I promise, I have nothing against him. I have nothing against him. But as parents, you have to realize that my son was my son too. You understand? And we was very close. And I miss my son very much. I miss him very. I can almost I cannot sleep in the night. Every time he's on my mind. He's on my mind. You understand? That thing is troubling me. I want that thing to come to a conclusion. So as I tell you, I have nothing against him. He's my prime minister. I have nothing against him. But let us come together as parents and let us close that gap. I mean, it's an accident. I know that it's an accident.
Yeah.
You understand? It's an accident. But I want us to come together as parents and let us close that.
You know what I mean? Both sides are grieving. So PM, you should meet with this man and try to get to, some, just my advice, bring some closure to both sides. Because both sides are grieving and are emotional. This interview just happened right after the news conference. The man was actually looking for me to express himself. So that's what I meant. We have to get all sides of the story. He's a grieving parent too. He lost his son. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes,
I did not hear much of what happened because the radio was giving it. I don't know if you see the person that.
But get to the point because we don't have time. Yes, go ahead.
But I know. But what I catch up is that the PM said that there is good and evil. That's what I understood you were saying. And I can recall not too long a person was preaching that and he heard the person said that. So what I'm trying to say there, you have to learn to identify with wisdom. You have to learn to identify the good and the evil. But if the evil is existing all the time and it is overtaken there, so what are they doing about that? You understand? Evil is evil. When you call evil by its name and you call good by its name. And sometimes we allow it go. We know that. And sometimes we never do nothing about it, neither even pretend like it is existing. So I think they need to be speaking about it. Do something about it. Do something. Whether the other side they think when wrong is wrong, say wrong is wrong. When you're right. But sometimes we take a right, wrong to cover right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. 449-3095-9697. It's a very sensitive subject. I understand both sides may be hurting, So please just try to resolve this moving forward. Hello, talk to me, yeah?
One side is grieving, one side is scheming. That's what it is. Matt, you remember when Skerrit said that, I can't remember the year, election date is only he and Dimitri that know the date and Dimitri cannot talk. Can you remember that, Matt?
I remember that, yes.
You remember a couple of years ago, Skerrit gave his son, the same Dimitri, to hand over keys to apartments, Matt. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So what Skerrit talking about, his child is never in politics and I never, that delusional lunatic, Matt, think he can fool everybody. Matt, is he an AI specialist, Matt?
I don't think so.
Do you know historic is specialized in differentiating what is real and what is AI?
I don't know that.
Now, do you know you can use real life stories and information and have it AI generated?
I've heard that too, yes.
Yeah, you can write a letter, Matt, and you just give it some AI flavor and have the AI reading your letter. That doesn't mean it's a fake story. So Skerrit has not the expertise to come and talk about AI. Matt Skerrit said something in the press. Let me be respectful to you and your listeners. And I was frightened. He said regional. What was the word? Regional mutual respect in the sense of the region and they respect each other. But where is the mutual respect for oppositions? Not in Venezuela. People playing like as if this place is their saints, Matt. Matt, they brutalize anybody that come up against them, in those like Russia, China. You remember the Tiananmen Square massacre, Matt,
Mm-hmm.
all right?
Yeah.
In China. So when people hear about China and Russia and Venezuela, and they just hate America, man. America is hell. But all of them, Matt, is there they want to go. None of them want to go to the places where I just mentioned and reside. But all of a sudden, like this morning, I was talking about what Donald Trump said about possessing or repossessing all the oil equipment and everything America had there and blah, blah, blah. My brother Lloyd think I was saying that's what America invaded for, but that's what they invaded for, and I can put it on the record. Because look, they're not coming to Dominica. Maduro is vomiting, and particles of skerrit is in his vomit. And I hope if using some, how they call it, Matt, some forensics that can further conclude where these particles are, who these particles are from. So, Matt, I listened to Carlyle, yourself, and Curtis Matthew. Brilliant! But if Skerrit could only abbreviate his responses to those relevant and current questions, he would come out looking a bit better. He lacked the intelligence to articulate convincingly. But if he would just abbreviate his response to those questions, Matt, that can really implicate him and Dominica, the consequences for Dominica, he would do better. But Matt, he goes on and on and on and on, talking his son have never been charged. Matt, when a matter have never been given the chance to be brought to the court, how can his son be charged? The circumstances surrounding, I've spoken to that man already via I think the telephone, and one time at a political meeting, somebody come talking to me and I realized it was the boy father. So I think one is scheming and one is grieving. So it is sad for Skerrit to come and talk about all the mutual, regional respect and all of that. And you treat Linton and Thompson and Hector Starks, John Donny, Luge, everybody, you treat them like they are criminals. I'm talking about for people to be patriotic and talk things good about the country. What is patriotic about you, Skerrit? So, Matt, in the interest of time, I want to commend you, Carlyle, and Curtis Matthew. But he make a mess of those questions there because those that, and look at Matt, do you know what you do 2 days that are impacting you tomorrow, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Matt, how can the president did what she did? And Skerrit said, as yesterday news, we dealing it today, today's Monday, let us move on. And some, I don't want to say foolish people, sorry. Some people in the background say, Matt, we do not know when we are playing with a grenade or we are playing with a cricket ball or a softball. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Somebody says, Matt, what about him persecuting all these Dominicans that he said tried to overthrow him? Lies or lies? They've been dragged to court for over 7 years. Wasn't that evil? Oh boy, Mr. Skerrit, somebody's asking. 449-3095, 96 and 97. Let's take another phone call. Has talk to me. Yes. Hello. Yes.
Matthias, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well, Matt. Let me say good afternoon to your listeners as well. Matt, I heard you sort of laying down the framework for that kind of discussion this afternoon. And as a journalist, Matt, I realize and I recognize the kind of predicament someone like you can be placed in terms of bringing out the facts to light. And so on that note, Matt, I empathize with you. But Matt, where your profession is concerned, you should really and truly try to acquaint and bring out the facts to the best of your ability and let the chips fall where they may. Matt, let me tell you something. The fact is, a young man is dead as we speak. The fact is, Roosevelt Skerrit's son was one or is the person that was involved with another vehicle where that young man's death is concerned. And so these are two undisputed facts to be. And so when I heard Roosevelt Skerrit this morning in his very conniving, very cunning, very subtle and hypocritical stance, tell you, the people inside the room with him, about his son and about people must not drag people's children into politics. And he goes on and on with that kind of trying to gain sympathy from the public. Matthew SPLT, you guys should not fall for that. At the end of the day, your child or your children will be. Every parent should love their children, and that should be so. But if your child does something wrong, you have to be man enough as a parent to pull up your child, deal with your child, and if need be, pay the consequences of your child's action. And so I'm telling Roosevelt Skerrit, based on that father's grief, continued grief. It is an accident, yes, but there are repercussions, there are consequences for your son's action. He is clinging on the fact that his son was not charged. I did not hear you guys, Matthew SPLT, prolong that statement and ask Roosevelt Skerrit, was there a proper investigation that had gone on into that matter? Is there anybody standing in the way of his son being charged? And the list goes on and on and on. And so it behooves the police now, the high command of the police, to come to the Dominican public and clear the air through one of their press conferences and make the Dominican public know why Malik, the son of the Roosevelt Skerrit, was not charged. Matt, Dominica is in a very, very troubled position as we speak. And Roosevelt Skerrit, through his people say mess conferences, he are only putting himself in more murky waters, more sinking sand situation. And for the very first time, finally, for the very first time, in a press conference, what it is called, I have heard Roosevelt Skerrit cannot answer or choose not to answer about 70% of the questions posed to him. And to the Dominican public, that says a lot. I'll rest.
All right, Lofty Duran, thank you very much. 2:21 is the afternoon time. Yes, hello, talk to me, yeah?
Yes, good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you, Lofty. Good. Matt, this is the first time I heard all the reporters ask good questions like that. But I hear more I don't know where you are digging no yam. That is all I heard. But you all were good asking questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 449-3095 again. That's the grieving father, just talking to me there on the way to Q95.
Exactly. This comment there, he was speaking specifically to your son. What is your reaction? What do you think? Just stop. Well, my reaction is I have no problem with the Prime Minister loving his son. I as a father, I have no problem that he loving his son. I know that my father must love their son. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying, what about my son that died? My son. What about my son that died? He's a son that I was very close to, and I love him too. You understand? So what about my son that died? You understand? He said like that. There's no charge of his son. Mm-hmm. I can understand. Okay, there's no charge of your son. So what really happening in Dominica? So when somebody died, so no trial of case, nothing is happening. That is my concern about. I want to know what is happening. Because you've been asking what is happening with your son. You've been asking that for a little while. Exactly. I want to know what is happening. What is happening? We need to come to us as parents, come to a conclusion. So you never met with the Prime Minister to discuss that? Well, we have never met to discuss that. We need to come together as a conclusion to discuss that. And I want that. So you want answers too? But of course, I want that to be resolved. I want it to be resolved. As I tell you, I have nothing against the Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. You understand? He's my Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. But I want that problem to resolve. I want it to resolve. I want him to come. Let us come together and let us discuss what we're gonna do. You understand? We need conclusion of that. There were allegations out there that you may or your family may have gone and paid for that. That is not true. That is not true. If I had get paid for that, you think I would be pleading all the time like that? If you think I get paid for that, you think I would be pleading every time like that about that situation? You understand? Yes, the Prime Minister pay for his funeral. You understand? He paid for his funeral, but we being compensated. That is not true. If that was the case, I would not be pleading time after time. I want that thing to come to so you want that to resolve? You want me to the Prime Minister? Well, of course, I want it to resolve. As I promise, I have nothing against him. I have nothing against him. But as parents, you have to realize that my son was my son too. You understand? And we was very close. And I miss my son very much. I miss him very much. I can almost I cannot sleep in the night. Every time he's on my mind. He's on my mind. You understand? That thing is troubling me. I want that thing to come to a conclusion. First, I tell you, I have nothing against him. It's my prime minister, I have nothing against him. But let us come together as parents and let us close that gap. I mean, it's an accident. I know that it's an accident. Yeah. You understand? It's an accident. But I want us to come together as parents and let us close that.
Well, I hope this discussion, I have sent that interview to the necessary persons, and I'm hoping that they could facilitate that discussion. Let's take a break, Dominica. We'll come back right after this. Thank you.
So I ask you, what are you doing inside Bloombox? You have a farm? You tell me, that's how tell sort. I've been married 37 years. Look at my money farm. I say, no, not woman, like land for farming crops. And then you understand, Bloombox is the most affordable on island. Knapsacks starting at only $57.71. Elsewhere, it's $300 plus. Cutlass seeds, seeding trays, nursery pots, sales of potting mix, all at way better prices than anywhere else. Fertilizers, 3-in-1 multi-tool, and so much more. Located on Federation Drive, Goodwill. Second property on the right after the Valley Link Road and on the corner of Drury Lane and Hanover Street in Rosal. Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
The romance begins from the very first sip. Treasure the rare, inviting richness found in our light wooden notes with a hint of vanilla. This rum is aged in individually selected oak bourbon barrels to guarantee a superb mellow taste with notes of dried tropical fruits, exhilarating the palate. Our unique aging process unlocks sweet, oaky notes with aromas of chocolate, toffee, and dried fruits. Angus through a single barrel rum, distributed by Fine Foods Inc.
All you, I just meet Goldwyn in Roseau again. Same place outside Flossie's. I tried to dock in, but he had time see me. Well, story start again. Million, lot of my power with us, huh? So, Capella, I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossie's. And you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I'm busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? About my bucket, boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. To park I expect him, why? But it could my purple palais. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Flossie's, right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Flossie's can't do it to you.
From the cradle to the grave, you don't have to be free. You need a loan, you want to stay. You welcome and visitors today. With a commitment to quality, therefore you and me was one the family, but now with the community, making life easy, like it. No matter who you are, you can benefit. When you bring your mortgage
with rates as low as 5% and loans for all your needs.
Open an MRA,
save for your golden years and take advantage of our savings product.
We will finance your business,
checking accounts, small business loans, wire transfers, and so much more.
NCCU all the way.
Your community financial partner.
NCCU.
Exciting news from AutoTrade. Incredible savings are here. Take advantage of AutoTrade's Thrifty Thursday promotion. Mark your calendars. On the last Thursday of each month, AutoTrade is offering up to 20% off items throughout the store. Yes, 20% off. But wait, here's more. Keep your eyes peeled for our exclusive Deal of the Day offer, bringing you even bigger discounts on select items. Whether you're looking for car accessories, maintenance essentials, or just browsing for a great deal, we've got you covered. So be sure to swing by AutoTrade every last Thursday. At AutoTrade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship. Terms and conditions. News, Dominica Do It Center is now even closer to you with the opening of Do It Center Express, conveniently located on Cork Street, right next to Fresh Market. Get all your home improvement essentials fast with everything from tools and paints to home decor and more. Plus, enjoy the same great service you know and trust. Now, just a quick stop in the city. Visit us today at Do It Center Express, your partner in home improvement, now closer than ever.
All right, Dominica, we're back. We're back. And of course, all the questions are still coming in. All the phone calls still coming in. All the comments, voice notes. Hello, talk to me. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Good afternoon.
Hi there, man. How you doing, bro? Mm-hmm.
Boy, Matt, every time Scary having this press conference, but people always get clapping on this kind of thing, man, and this kind of thing. That's not nice, boy. People always clapping those things, and the other always saying, that bad come out look up for this way. Don't go them ways out. That's all I have to say, bro, this afternoon.
All right. The people you hear clapping in the background are more his ministers and government officials. I don't think there's any public, only any person in the public he's supported by his ministers and government officials. That's all I can say at this time. For 493095996 and 97. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, greetings, greetings, brethren. Greetings, Dominica.
Greetings to you.
My brother, with that situation with the Prime Minister and his son, I mean, I understand Malik might, we don't want to, put him in a bad light, but the situation happened. Don't the vehicle have insurance on it? If it's a government vehicle, don't they have insurance? So that there should compensate, that money should compensate the family of the individual that succumbed to that accident. You know what I'm saying? And if it was my son or your son, we wouldn't be able to fly out of the country. So that was his privilege. He had to fly out of the country. But it is what it is. All I'm telling the Prime Minister, right now, Pont Duvin have a Duvin point. All I'm asking him, since America is in control of Venezuela, he got to do something. Get rid of the Chinese in Dominica. Because I'm telling you, the population of Dominica is more in America than China and Venezuela. So Dominicans will go more for America. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's where we at right now. Well, we are not in China, so he should. He's a prime minister for the people. So he should go for what the people want. And we want to get the Chinese out of Dominica. And let's do for self and kind, my brother. Peace and blessings. I'm listening.
Peace and blessings. I suspect, it's going to come some time when we have to take one side or the other. Venezuela or the Chinese at some point, given all the geopolitics taking place at this time, we may have to take a side. Hello, talk to me, yes? 44930. Somebody saying call the commission, ask the questions, but the police is in the spotlight. Ask the police, what is the status of the investigation? Why wasn't the young man charged? Contact this Commonwealth of Dominica Police. Ask the police, what is the conclusion of that investigation? 449-3095-96 and 97. 231. Talk to me.
The matter never was tried in court. Skerrit is saying his son have never been tried. What are your influences? When Skerrit says you never call police and say who to charge and who not to charge. Skerrit, we know the game. I would not be that stupid to call a police. Matt, would you, Matt?
Mm-mm.
You use your influence. You use your tentacles and the far-reaching tentacles and influence the matter. Norma Dairampo, you remember Norma Dairampo, Matt?
Of course.
Who never got justice for us. And so some people can kill your children and they will walk. And when it's other poor people children, they die in police custody, Matt. On 2 occasions in Lica Dominica, you have 2 young men who were killed, let me not say killed, they died in police custody. And police shooting man, brutalizing man, beating man in Dominica, and other people getting away with broad daylight murder. I'm just saying, Matt, does Malik fit the criteria for him to be issued a diplomatic passport? What is his status? Matt, how old is he now? About 20, Matt?
Somewhere, maybe in the mid-20s. Somewhere in the mid-20s, yes, maybe.
So you Matt, all the ministers of government and how they call them, Matt, when they think them again.
What's
the
that?
People when they the lady from Salisbury could get 2 of them. How did us get them?
The senators?
Senators, all the senators, all the government ministers. How do you, at what time and when, or how do you issue diplomatic passports like it's Balau? No wonder our passports in the hands of all crooks and criminals are now in trouble. Skerrit saying, let us live today, tomorrow's past. Matt, we watched Skerrit there. I did not watch him, but I listened to him and I know his face. And his tone does make me know his special expression. Skerrit trying to make us think that is some trivialities, Matt, because people trying to use AI and generate things to make things sound more serious, or you have to think your country and you cannot make everything. Skerrit talking like as if, well, it's Titiwi and Balau that we, Matt. Matt, we in a diplomatic crisis, regionally and globally, and Skerrit come in there. Let Skerrit allow, you see, like somebody that is very educated to come there and maybe write a script for him and do not get off script. And Matt, we're still waiting for Tony Estefans to bring Kenneth Ridgeway to Dominica to answer charges. You can remember that, Matt?
Yes, a long
If
time ago.
everything Matt and Ridgeway was saying, I know they will maybe take Matt to court too if Ridgeway they come Dominica. Up to now, they cannot bring Ridgeway to face charges in Dominica. Dominican just continue to be fooled and allow Skerrit to destroy Dominica. By the time when you wake up and say, good day, right, Indiana? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's listen to a few more voice notes here. Is the afternoon time 2:34? 2:34. Are you still there?
Matt, greetings, Matt.
Greetings.
Man, I'm listening, to the voice of that man, and it really broke my heart, Roosevelt Skerrit talking about what they did to his son when you asked him the question. So where you think your son come out, Roosevelt Skerrit, in a golden pea? And other people's children come out from what? From dust and garbage and dirt? That you're talking about what they did to your son. Your son killed the man's son in an accident, cannot dress in an accident. You should have allowed the due process to take place by the police. And that is how corrupt the police force is in Dominica, where you clearly said that your son was not arrested. There is no case. What is different about this case where your son was not arrested? And why is it that due process did not take place? And you are lying through your teeth to say that you did not instruct the police. So if you did not instruct the police, who instructed the police? Was it Raymond Blackmore, the Minister of Security? And what if that were Lennox Linton's son or any poor Malaway son that had run over somebody in the streets, knocked down the person's child, killed the child, injured the pillion rider? Is that what you would have encouraged as the Prime Minister of the country? Roosevelt Skerrit, you need to stop that, because the tears of Dominicans will fall on you and your children, and it will not be a good end result. What you do to people, you will see it under your bed, Skerrit. It will show up on your doorstep. You cannot do that, and no one is doing anything to Malik Skerrit other than what Malik Skerrit and you and the police in Dominica and all the rest that harbor what he did and have him escaped. Matt, I am just besides myself. You asked a man about the diplomatic passport. He beat around the bush and he did not answer the question as to whether Malik Skerrit was holding a diplomatic passport. Like, really, Roosevelt Skerrit? I am just in awe at all those things.
What's going on?
How could these people, how could you let him fly? Let those things fly. You asked the man a question he was supposed to answer. And he's talking about Dominicans who are not patriotic. The only unpatriotic leader and a treasonous leader that has passed through the history of Dominica is Roosevelt Skerrit, because he knowingly took his two hands and destroyed Dominica. He destroyed Dominica's good name out there. He gave passports to all crooks and criminals on Interpol's list. And you're talking today and talking about Dominicans are resilient. Hell yes, Dominicans are resilient people. Because Dominicans who are still standing and breathing after that 20 plus years of your evil governance have to be resilient. They have to. Because don't forget that what you have done over your 25 years is just brought Dominicans to their knees. You have destroyed the country. You have reduced the country to joblessness. You have reduced Dominicans to second-class citizens. Chinese can now go into any Dominican's home and give them marching orders to vacate their properties, not being paid, not knowing where to relocate with their lifetime belongings. Chinese can just walk in to do that. Look at the number of indigenous businesses that are closed. Look at what it is. Our economy is underwater. And you were telling people about how resilient Dominicans are. Yes, Dominicans are resilient because they are still breathing, as I said. And it's just sad to see that Roosevelt Skerrit is trying to talk about bringing in refugees into Dominica. The Dominicans agree that they want the country flooded with refugees,
Well,
criminals from all over the place.
We'll talk about that tomorrow, right? All right. Let's continue the discussion at 449-3095. Yes, we'll address the refugee issue situation tomorrow. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Thank you, Dominica. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It is our first Global VNQ show for 2026, and we continue to engage with our local, regional, and global Q family listeners and friends of Dominica at home and abroad.
We have a little issue here. Let's try to correct this and move on. Let's take a few phone calls. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I cannot believe the man would say that his son wasn't charged. I have 3 sons. If any one of them want to come to Dominica right now and get into an accident and somebody get hurt, I am sure like hell I would have to be flying back to Dominica because they would have them at Stockholm. It is such ridiculous nonsense when people can do things like that and you call yourself a prime minister. It's a shame. It's a shame. Where's the deceased right? No right for the deceased family? You pay for the funeral, that's it? And he say he was going to have, he and Maduro good friends. When is he going to go over there? Instead of bringing his RSS to just take care of our people and you use rubber bullets on them. And they talk themselves about a zone of peace. There ain't no zone of peace. And they talk about they have the Navy SEALs and the snipers. Well, we have our Navy SEALs right around them right now. Let them keep on coming the fool. Thank you.
Thank you too. On the telephone again, let's go back to this promo for tonight's, tomorrow night's Global View and Q.
It is our first Global VNQ show for 2026, and we continue to engage with our local, regional, and global Q family listeners and friends of Dominica at home and abroad. With me Tuesday night is Justice Dr. Irving Andre, Social Scientist Simeon Joseph, Pastor Dr. Randy Rodney, Mr. Claudius Sanford, retired ASP Nicholas George, and former Dominica UN Ambassador Christine Gregoire. We will discuss national security and administrative accountability, crime and small arms proliferation, border security and police integrity, societal norms and tolerance which breed crime and undermine social stability and national security, and the implications for Dominica and the Caribbean of the U.S. invasion of Venezuela. So here are some issues and questions that we hope to deal with. Is there effective national security and accountability in Dominica? Is crime and small arms proliferation now rampant in Dominica, considering there were 24 homicides in 2025? Is there a problem with border security and police integrity in Dominica? Have societal norms and tolerance in Dominica been fostering crime and undermining social stability and national security? Do the government's policies reduce gun proliferation? Has the government held anyone accountable for importing drugs? Has enforcement of gun legislation in Dominica been successful? If not, why? What is the way forward? Is the government willing to take the guns from the little snipers? Is gun violence being used to intimidate persons opposed to the regime? However, as we begin, we will briefly look at the implications of the U.S. invasion of Venezuela and the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. What does governance of Venezuela look like going forward? Who is now in charge in Venezuela? And what are the implications for Dominica and the Caribbean? So tune in Tuesday night, with Global View on Cube, 8 to 8 p.m. for more.
We'll continue with of course, the issue that we've been discussing for the past half an hour. Just want to give you a quick update. I've been told this doctor charged in the courts for attempted murder, and that issue has been set for match. And from what I gather, the doctor has been remanded until the 31st of March, 2026. So you see, some people are prosecuted. The doctor has been remanded in custody until March 31st. Maybe he may make a court appearance for bail, but for now, he's been remanded to the state prison until March 31st, 2026. What a situation, huh? I think his name is Dr. Thomas. A very unfortunate incident. I'm sure we'll get more details as we continue. Well, let's do a quick turn and report on the situation there with Maduro. I was told that he pleaded not guilty in New York courts. Also, I've been told over 30 special operatives Cuba intelligence officers guarding President Maduro were killed. And the security we talked about earlier, as it relates to Venezuelan president, gave the CIA the exact positioning of the Cuban security officers. At least 2 American soldiers wounded and taken to the U.S. mainland for medical care. So over 32 or over 30 Cuban intelligence officers guarding President Maduro were killed. So we spoke about intelligence. Some people said it was AI this morning when we disclosed. Now we're hearing the truth that the Cuban government itself is revealing that over 32 Cuban intelligence officers guarding President Maduro at the time were killed. We have Mr. Crispin Gregoire at this time to give us an update. How are you doing, Mr. Crispin Gregoire? How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Very revealing information as it relates to this Cuban intelligence officers.
That's correct, Matt. You're reporting correctly. The Cuban government has confirmed, and they've put out a statement that 22 Cuban soldiers, I guess soldiers, intelligence officers, but I prefer to call those the intelligence officers, the security men who the Cuban government had made available to President Maduro at his request to guard him. Of course, we know we now have a better insight on what transpired, that the Venezuelan security officers are the ones who betrayed President Maduro, and the Cubans were all killed. And you know, their positioning, as you rightly said, was disclosed to the CIA, and so they knew exactly who to eliminate as they came in. And it's a very unfortunate situation, but that is the reality of war. We are at war, and of course, the Cubans were supporting former President Maduro. Well, some people say he's still the president, but he did appear in court, Matt, here in New York today.
Yes, and I can give you a little update. Give me an update there quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, so he appeared in court around 12 o'clock today. He said he's not guilty. He pleaded not guilty, and so it was his wife. The two of them were in court. And then he said, and I should quote, he declared himself innocent and that he's a decent man. And he said, and I'm quoting, I am innocent. I am not guilty. I am a decent man, the president of my country. And so he was making that. This is his first appearance on narco terrorism charges that the Trump administration used to justify to capture him. And Maduro, he was wearing a blue jail uniform, and his wife, they were led, and together with his wife, they were led into court around noon for this brief but required legal proceedings that will likely kick off a prolonged legal fight over whether he can be put on trial in the U.S. Matt, his next court date is set for the 17th of March.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
17th of March.
17th
of March, 2026. Yes.
Yeah. That's in March coming. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Crispin, we'll keep following you. Maybe we'll talk to you again tomorrow when you have more updates. But thank you very much. We do.
Yes, you're very welcome. Okay.
Thank you very much. As I was just reported, there's 32 intelligence officers killed by American forces. Can you imagine that, huh? Somebody's asking me, who's that doctor? Well, he wasn't called this morning. I think it's Mr. Thomas, Dr. Thomas, from the Kalinago territory. On the telephone, we are 252. Now you've gotten an update from New York. And you've gotten an update as it relates to the doctor that was brought to court this morning for the shooting incident. On the telephone, hello, talk to me, yes?
Mark.
Yes, sir.
President Obama to come assist us in Dominica.
But President Obama? Why should he come to Dominica?
To do what he did to Maduro.
To do what?
You tell me he did to Prime Minister you have there now.
No, you're talking about President Trump, not Obama. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Hello, Matt.
How are you, sir? How are you doing?
Happy New Year to you and all the Dominicans. Good to hear.
Okay.
Matt, one of the things I want to ask you, you're a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And in relation to news,
right?
There's certain news that stays on the front line.
Okay.
And until you how to say that? Until you clarify the information, that news is still on the hotline.
Yes, you can see allegations at the time, and if the person is not arrested, you can't call the person's name.
Right on. Matt, what you'll be investigating, right?
Right.
So which means that news, you're still on the bit. You're still on it. You're not going to give it up until you get the clarification of what is going on.
Right.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
I heard you all ask the Prime Minister Roosevelt Kerry a question, and he talked like that is yesterday thing, that's not today thing. As he brushed that down, let's move forward. Matt, the news that is burning on the U.S. news lines now is what happened over the weekend. They haven't said that is false news, so let's move on to other things.
No.
Same news, and they're following it up, and there's things to come. Matt, Dominica finds itself in a position where people don't care about people. People only care about themselves. The leadership of Dominica is mine. Everything is mine. Even when I give you what is mine to take care of. It's like all the money belongs to Skerrit. Maduro wasn't different. Maduro facing his charges for misappropriation of what all kind of things and guns and all the charges you hear that they put before him there. And he has to face them and answer for them. I don't know when Roosevelt Skerrit will be answering for hours, because we give Roosevelt Skerrit to manage the pulse of Dominica, and all over the place you pass is Skerrit money, and Dimple's money. Where he gets it, I don't know. But there's another thing, Matt. The international airport that is building there, on a number of occasions, we hear who financing it and where the money coming out. When Lennox Linton came out and gave us the details, it was said now that the money is our money, the airport is our airport. But there was an area that was already paid for and selected for an international airport to accommodate normal flights, big flights to bring people. But something else was in Skerrit and the mind, he and those Chinese. Because what they do in Wesley there is nothing to talk about international airport, Everybody that go there can tell you that is a Chinese-based airstrip or airline or what they're going to make there. It's for the Chinese. And the U.S. is watching it. I want President Trump to do the same thing he do in Venezuela, to send the CIA down there to check what was going on, and then CIA set the plan up, send them to see the airport, because I suspect that airport was a setting up to attack America in their own backyard. So while people talking and saying, oh, we will be affected, we've been affected already. The whole of Roseau sell for Chinese. All of the big places that poor people used to sweat for their children, it's sell for Chinese. When it will affect us more already? They shoot down Salisbury. Matt, I am saying President Trump is taking an action. And the people of Dominica, in the interest of Dominica, invite President Trump to send the CIA to Dominica. We have matters for them to put in their books and for them to file those kind of charges for us. That is boots in the air, first for the year.
All right, caller. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody's asking me at this time, Matt, the people, what did the doctor, I think from what I gather, attempted murder or something? Yes. On the telephone, are you there? Yes.
I about button down 100%.
Okay. Thank you. We have 3 more minutes to go. Yes, hello, talk to me, huh? Caller, are you there? Yes.
You hear me?
I hear you.
Using the word incident or accident, and now you're saying willful murder. There's a difference between accident and willful murder.
Repeat again.
You say using the word accident.
As it relates to what?
And it's a willful murder. So what accident coming in there?
A willful, no, you cannot be a willful murder if it's an accident. Would you refer to an accident as a willful murder? You think somebody just take a car and jam somebody? Would you say that?
You would say that, not me.
No. I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's an accident. Accident is an accident. It's like manslaughter. But we're talking about the shooting incident, a totally different thing. So maybe you're confused about that. All right, totally different. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Hey, good afternoon, Matt.
How are you, my brother? How are you?
I am good, Matt, I listened to Trump after this Venezuela thing, and he said, no lives were lost. It was a very smooth operation. No lives were lost. And that was because, Matt, for him, the only lives that matter is Americans. They don't care who they kill. Those lives don't mean anything. And I listened to the press conference with Skerrit earlier on, where he brought hell and damnation on those who are calling for his son to face justice. And I'm just trying to draw the two similarities. For Skerrit, the life of the man who's lost means nothing, but his son's life is precious. So the people who are including his son in politics, they will face judgment, they will face wrath, because they should not be doing that. Matt, if you're working today, who do you expect to reap the sweet of what you're doing, Matt?
My children.
It is your children. So how then can Skerrit jump up and say that they are not in, his son should not be, or his son should be kept out? Nobody's bringing his son into politics. His son is being, we are saying that his son should face the same justice that everybody else is facing. His son cannot go to court if his son was not charged. If his son was whisked out on a diplomatic passport before investigations were completed, his son cannot face charge. So when he's looking at that as an excuse, man, it is not an excuse. It is a cop-out. That is something that he did. Okay? That is, and if we have a real country, man, Skerrit and all those who are still associated with it, who assisted his son in leaving Dominica, should face justice for attempting to pervert the course of justice. Matt, I heard the gentleman speaking, the father of this guy who's dead, and he's calling on Skerrit for them to meet as two fathers. What is he looking for? For Skerrit to settle this matter with him?
I guess so, to have a father-to-father discussion.
I don't support that, Matt. No, if you remember, he said Skerrit paid for the funeral. You remember when Lescott was out in the wilderness? Skerrit attempted the same thing, paying for something or paying for. Matt, it's a process. Skerrit, that is the way Skerrit is looking for people not to face justice by using money, and it's state money, not his personal money, to get people off the hook. Because he knows that the port authority had done wrong, the airport authority, and in order to appease Lescott, he wanted to give Lescott money. In order to appease the family of this man who his son killed, he paid for the funeral. But what people need to know, while a traffic accident is not generally an accident, is not a criminal.
No.
Causing death by dangerous driving is a criminal offense. And the attempt by Skerrit in paying for the funeral, and this man calling for him Skerrit to meet because Rob is looking for justice, Matt, it can tantamount to perverting the course of justice. I would say to him, I have nothing to say to Skerrit. Call on the police instead. The commissioner of police was newly confirmed to do what they should do. Investigate this thing. And if Malik has to face charges, bring Malik down. He's not doing any diplomatic work in America. Okay, he's going to school. Should not be on a diplomatic passport while going to school, because he cannot show any results for the diplomacy he's doing over there, but for his personal good. A diplomatic passport is not for anything personal. It is for in the interest of the state to go out, to be able to travel and to promote the country. Malik is doing none of that. And so when Skerrit is looking at people and trying to blame them for calling for justice for a family, while he believes his son is above the law, it should never happen in Dominica. Okay?
Caller, thank you. Somebody wanted a clarification as it relates to the doctor that was or that is being held in custody. The doctor's name is Dr. Theodore Thomas. I'm confused with Dr. Robertson Thomas. Two different people. Huh? One is a surgeon. 3:03, we have a few minutes. We will, of course, wrap it up in a while. Hello? So much information coming in there. You have to be swift to pick up all of the information coming in. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Not live with the house of exile for me, please. No. Thank you.
I'll try that one. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Good.
Hey, Matt, I know I late.
Yes.
Let me tell you, Matt.
Tell me something.
I call it, I follow up from what the man the last call I just said. I don't agree with everything you said, but one thing you put it good. You see the man, the father and the boy that died, that get killed.
Yes.
But I don't even know how to put it, but that is why before, when I hear things like that, I try to call to Dominica, or if I dare, investigate who the person be. Because it's shit this man talking and maybe using with another son to get killed to get compensation. The law is supposed to deal with it. And that is why they feel sorry for them. And Matt, I want to ask you, where the guy, the one that did, where he came on breakfast set?
The breakfast set, I think, yeah, the breakfast set.
Well, it's all of them. Now, the other woman that gets shot, the girl that gets shot by the doctor, it's all of them. So I don't even care about them. Okay, man.
You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say that. We all are human beings, huh? We, of course, have sympathies. 449-3095. So we'll talk about refugees tomorrow. The Prime Minister said that we may have to accept some refugees. So there's a deal for refugees. People come to Dominica. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Before we go, let's take one phone call and wrap it up for the afternoon talk on the block. This is it. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
How you doing, my brother? How you doing?
Matt, I'm good. Matt, I listened to the Prime Minister's news conference,
Yes.
conference, and it is very sad that Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit continue to lie to the Dominican people. Matt, the opposition tired, make themselves available to bring ideas to work with the government to transform Dominica's economy. As early as recently as last week, Dr. Thomason Fontaine was on one of his radio programs offering himself to the government to assist. Yet this man said today, persons that are criticizing his administration are not making themselves available to help, man. But this man talks about his son was not charged, man. That type of accident that happened where somebody dies, he could mash up. A charge should have been brought by the police, but the police department in Dominica is under the supervision and control of politicians. And the speed with which the gentleman was moved from the country suggests a cover-up. But the Prime Minister tells us his son was not charged. The Prime Minister lie again and say that we bring in his son into politics. As one of your callers said earlier, this man does be on television, not even privately, on television, giving keys to apartments, giving packages after Maria. This man told us, the Prime Minister told us, that his son, when his son starts to make children, he will leave government. Matt Skerrit told us that he was going to leave government. Yet he tells us, after the date pass, he tells us he's not going anywhere. But he's claiming that it's people that want him to leave. Skerrit have admitted to himself that it's time for him to go, but he refuses to go. In respect to the question of the president, he distanced himself from the utterances of the president because he realized that is not between America and Venezuela. That is between America, China, and Russia. And his president put herself in it. And he take out himself and says, he is the president. He can't tell the president what to do. But I have felt that we are in a deep hole. And the only how we can get out of the hole there is to remove this administration. But I felt that Roosevelt Skerrit brought in his wife, his salary, the money. So 2 government salaries going in one place. But he tells us it's us that bringing his son into it. But the Americans are not making joke, Matt. The Americans do not only pick up the president, did not only pick up the president of Venezuela. They took the documents, the laptop, and all kind of things. They have Mr. Skerrit's phone number. They will ask him some questions. Matt, I remember, I don't want to be long. I remember when they was renovating the Mensvin Hall Airport. Venezuelan jet used to come in middle night. offload thing and move out. When security guard was going to check, they would just get a phone call, stay away from that aircraft. The Americans going to get to the bottom of this. Mr. Skerrit, you're trying to wash your hands. It's too late. You have to step aside, and I hear people keep saying about you mustn't interfere in sovereign countries and all them things there. So who are going to come to rescue the people when dictators put an iron grip, jail people, put people on trial falsely? The 90% of opposition figures in this country are on trial. Even ordinary civilians, farmers are protesting for the road. They're on trial. We need help. That is why the Americans becomes the world police to some of us. We need help, and they come in and talk nonsense, man, about internal affairs. Don't interfere with internal affairs. We need help in Dominica because people like Roosevelt Skerrit that uses the resources of the state for one set of people to benefit, uses the police to pick up one set of people. Those things must come to an end. And we're sending out a message to Mr. Skerrit. You can still leave. You promised the Dominican people you was going to leave last year. You can still leave. Somebody say we should make arrangement to make you don't take much jail, Mr. Prime Minister. But yes, if you leave now and save the country from the deep hole you have plunged us in, we can talk. But you need to go, Mr. Prime Minister, because things are terrible in Dominica. Thank you very much.
It has been said that you issued your son, Malik, with a diplomatic passport to avoid persecution or prosecution. How or what is your comment on that?
Well, first of all, prime ministers, presidents, heads of state and government, their families, members of the issues of diplomatic passport to travel with them from time to time. Spouses of heads of government, heads of state, and even ministers are offered diplomatic passports. I want to say on this. I've never in my entire life of politics bringing politicians' families into my political discourse. Never. Never. And what is being done to my son is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. It is hurtful and it's evil. But I pray to God that vengeance is not my vengeance, Lord. My son got involved into an accident. And you know, man, I did the program. My son was never charged. Right? Never charged. I don't get involved in any matter regarding the police. I never got involved in the police matter. Never. If supporters of mine get into permanent police, as a party, we help pay the legal fees. But the police can never tell you I call them and then we charge this person, don't charge this person. All my years prime minister. Okay? But what has been done is unfair, it is evil, and it is very hurtful. What people is doing. My son is not involved in politics. I'm involved in politics. And I am fair game, okay? But the Bible says, do unto others as like you do unto you. And as you know, this law has helped me and protect me for many years and continues. So I leave it to you, Lord, to deal with those who are promoting this hate and this evil attack on my son. My son is my son, and it will always be my son. Right? But what's been said and done, it's okay. It's okay.
Prime Minister in this government there, he was speaking specifically to your son. What is your reaction? What do you think? Good stuff.
Well, my reaction is I have no problem with the Prime Minister loving his son. I as a father, I had no problem that he loving his son. I know that my father must love their son. But what I'm saying, what about my son that died? My son. What about my son that died? He's a son that I was very close to, and I love him too. You understand? So what about my son that died? You understand? He said like that, there's no charge of his son. I can understand. Okay, there's no charge of your son. So what really happening in Dominica? So when somebody die, so no trial of case, nothing is happening. That is my concern about. I want to know what is happening.
Because you've been asking what is happening with your son. You've been asking that for a little while.
Exactly. I want to know what is happening. What is happening? We need to come to us as parents, come to a conclusion.
So you never met with the Prime Minister to discuss that?
Well, we have never met to discuss that. We need to come together as a conclusion to discuss that. And I want that. So
you want answers too.
But of course, I want that to be resolved. I want it to be resolved. As I tell you, I have nothing against the Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. You understand? He's my Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. But I want that problem to resolve. I want it to resolve. I want him to come. Let us come together and let us discuss what we're gonna do. You understand? We need conclusion of that.
There were allegations out there that you may or your family may have gotten paid for that.
That is not true. That is not true. If I had get paid for that, you think I would be pleading all the time like that? If you think I get paid for that, you think I'll be pleading every time like that about that situation? You understand? Yes, the Prime Minister pay for his funeral. You understand? He paid for his funeral, but we being compensated. That is not true. If that was the case, I would not be pleading time after time. I want that thing to come to
So you want that to resolve? You want to meet with the Prime Minister?
But of course, I want it to resolve. As I promised, I have nothing against him. I have nothing against him. But as parents, you have to realize that my son was my son too. You understand? And we was very close. And I miss him, my son, very much. I miss him very. I can almost I cannot sleep in the night. Every time he's on my mind. He's on my mind. You understand? That thing is troubling me. I want that thing to come to a conclusion. Plus, I tell you, I have nothing against him. He's my Prime Minister. I have nothing against him. But let us come together as parents and let us close that gap. I mean, it's an accident. I know that it's an accident.
Yeah.
You understand? It's an accident. But I want us to come together as parents and let us close that.
It's a day of feasting and a day of famine. Day of sadness and a day of joy. You're gonna see in your day of feasting. Life is just a little daylight on. So your day when you least expected. You always thought you were well protected. And now you feel like a fish out of water. So now you're wondering what's the matter. Oh, remember you said it wouldn't happen to you. Now you're thinking how to start anew. That is strong. You had been born, but you wouldn't take heed. Everything creation must obey a law. It's true in what it is indeed. Yeah. You would have come down to. Remember that you got to reap what you sow. Simple truth, everybody knows. Wanna have the best life. Watching you now on your last line. Wanna have the best life.